Hi everybody, welcome back. So, paint's dry, everything looks great. One minor detail, the steps are actually same as that NATO black, so I repainted those off video last night. Minor detail, but whatever, no big deal. We got all of our tires ready, they look pretty decent. The next step that we need to do is the windows for the front windshield here on the cab. This is a piece of clear styrene. It's 0.010 inches thickness or a quarter of a millimeter thickness. You can pick it up from most model shops, hobby train stores, etc., stuff like that. We're just going to use that to basically rough measure, since there's room in there, what the distances that we need to do to cut out basically the size of those two windows right there. And then we will glue them in with actual plastic cement. That will keep these looking pretty decent. It'll hold them in place with the resin. I still recommend gluing resin to resin with super glue, but for like details like this, perfectly fine. So what we're gonna do, and this is kind of the easy way to do it, is I like taking it, kind of holding it up to the cab like this, and then what we're going to do, oops, I'm gonna have to reglue that, I just knocked off the smokestack. What we're gonna have to do is kind of hold it there, and I usually just kind of do some light scoring with the knife so that I know basically where to cut. And so we're gonna do a cut there and cut here. And it's enough of, I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's enough scratches there that I know roughly what the size is that we need to do in order to get us started. And while we do that, I'm going to re-glue this back on because I just broke it off. That happens sometimes in this scale, but no big deal. There we go. Good as new. Back to where that was. And then if we need to touch up some paint after this, also not a big deal, we'll just touch up paint however we need. And don't forget that due to weathering, and the weathering that we're going to do is going to cover a lot of this. Just do it that way. Didn't quite get enough glue on there. Doing it on the exhaust, so we'll do it that way. Okie dokie. There we go, good enough. Okay, set that here off to the side for a second. These cut very well. All you gotta do is just kind of put a little pressure, and I apologize here that it's a little harder to see. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. There you go. Put a little pressure and score it, and same thing again, just kind of score it like that. And then all you really need to do is just kind of start bending and it will snap. So don't feel like you have to cut all the way through. And there you have it. There's the first window. We're going to grab the little mini tweezers here. And then see if this is a fit. Oh, look at that. We'll worry about that in a second. So going up in here. Looks like that's going to fit okay. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to flip the cab over here onto its top. And let me do this and tilt this down a little bit so you guys can see this a little better. And before we do that, because this is pretty much the right size, we're going to go put it on top of the next piece here. We're just going to use it as a template to do the exact same thing. So kind of hold it in place with my thumbnail there, make a score mark, And then same thing, make a score mark. And then I need to make that a little deeper. We'll break that off. And you can, if you run your knife along this a few times, you can just cut straight through it if you want more of an actual cut through. But when you're doing this, I'm cutting this a little large on purpose because it will fit in behind, and you're not going to see these edges. You also can trim these edges just like you're used to with any other styrene work that you do if you've ever worked with styrene. And that should be about it. I think that piece here is a little too long. Let's see. Just a hint. We're going to just take off the side, and the easy way to do that is like that and push. I don't know if you can really see that, but there's the little bit that we took off. Okay, back to using tweezers. So we're also going to weather the windshield when we're done. A little bit here and there. We'll work on that. We're going to take this, put it in the tweezers. We're going to take our glue. Let me kind of see. You guys can still see pretty well. Here's our window. We're going to take our glue. We're going to put the glue in around the window frame at the base and bottom here. Top and bottom, I should say. Then we're going to take our window and just lay it in here. Now, take the other tweezers that are not the reverse grip ones. Move this around a little bit so that it will lay exactly where we want it to, just like that. And this takes a little bit of finagling, and that's okay too. Once you get it to where you want it, there we go. Kind of press a little bit. You're going to add some more glue, another drop, and that didn't go well. I just got the glue on the window. Getting the glue on the window causes this to happen, which is not what we want to have happen. So we're going to recut a piece for that, which is why it's always a good idea to have extra laying around. Let's see. And the piece that I have more of this, so if it's not the right size, no big deal. But there's that score. We'll just go ahead and snap that. And then I know that this is too tall, so we're going to just go ahead and cut that one, just like that. There we go. Okay, back to what we were doing. Sometimes you might have to end up trimming corners, depending on how it fits or doesn't fit. You might have to make some adjustments, and all of that is perfectly okay. It's nothing to worry about. And like I said, when you're working in HO scale, this is a small enough scale that let's see, I should probably cut the corners on that one. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to be looking at it like super up close, and you are welcome to do that, of course, on your own stuff, but it's totally up to you. Don't put too much pressure on yourself if it's not perfect or what you think should be perfect. It's all okay. It's about what you like at your layout. This is difficult, I can tell you that. I have a sign on the door to my layout room that says this is basically my layout. I'm building it for me. If I have to please everybody else, it's not fun anymore. So here's the rules, like don't criticize, don't nitpick, don't give unwanted suggestions, don't be a rivet counter, basically. Whoops. Stuff like that. And like I said, this is difficult. I'm going to get this in here so you guys aren't just watching my hand. I'll be right back. Okay. I got those in there. They're not perfect, and that's okay. But there we go. You can see what that looks like. And you can see another helper trying to assist in the situation. I'm still kind of messing with the fact I broke off the exhaust. That's okay. I think we got that glued back on. Our next step coming up now is that we need to put the interior in. And so I'm actually going to rest that like that. Since the interior is painted, I really don't care and don't want to do a lot of detail work for the interior because it's just not really going to be that visible. But we're going to go ahead and try and slide that in and try and see if we can get this glued in place. Resin does move a little bit, which is kind of nice because then as you're working on stuff like this, you can actually kind of pull the sides out a little bit to try and get that to fit a little bit better. And so you can get the end in. If I can just get the front in, then we will be pretty good to go. And that's the tricky part. It's a very close fit. Give me 1 second here. I think we're going to take this off until we're done because I keep breaking it off. Okay, let's try this again. So, yeah, this is a very tight fit. It's kind of supposed to be designed that way on purpose. But yeah, you want to kind of just spread that a little bit. Let me bring that over. See if you can fit that in there a little bit better. That's looking better. There, just like that. Now, same thing. We're going to super glue and probably hold that. Maybe we'll even put a little tape on that to hold it. So little pieces, we can wipe that off when we're done too. But we want just some little beads of glue in there. And then hold that shut. Just like that. We're going to take a cotton swab and wipe off the excess with it, like that. There we go. That's already holding, which is great. That was something I was hoping for, was that it would be a quick hold. And like I said, don't forget that if this isn't completely perfect, that's okay. And we're going to be covering a lot of this, so like you can see the glue marks, and obviously my mistake there. But we're actually going to be covering that with weathering, weathering washes and powders, stuff like that, which will be in the next video. And so don't be too hard on yourself. Okay, there we go. That came out pretty decent. Happy with how that's looking. We're going to just keep holding that for a minute. And what we're going to do next then is we're going to put wheels on the chassis here first, and then we're going to put the cab on, and then we got to do the same for the trailer. We just got to put the wheels on that, and then we're ready to weather. So this should be a shorter video, but still a good one nonetheless, and we'll go from there. Give me a minute to let this dry. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to do the easy one first, which is trailer. So these are our trailer wheels. I kind of recommend that, as you, my bad, I got stuff stuck to it. As you look at these, figure out which side you kind of will see a little bit more of, maybe see more of the tread of, and that's kind of the side to leave out versus like something on the very top or on the very bottom. You're not going to see a whole lot, so don't feel too bad about that either. We are going to then come in here and dot a super glue on the ends of the axles on this side, like that. Whoops, my bad. And we're going to bring our wheels in, kind of see what side looks decent. Alright. Kind of line up the pin in the back right there with where it would go. And then same thing, just kind of put it there. Gently push a little bit to kind of help create that bond. And since we're doing one side, we'll keep it upright like this. And then same thing again. Push a little bit, want to create that bond. And make sure that we're centered. Looks better. Okay, I'm going to set that on its side, let that dry for a second that way, and then we'll go do the other side. While we're doing that, we're going to do the same thing with the front wheels on the chassis here. So we're going to go like that. I'm going to bring this in. And glue. Come on. Sometimes it takes a second to grip, and that's okay. There we go. And now let's go do, since we're doing one side at a time, let's go and do the back ones. Just like that. Since these are a little more visible, we're going to do it to where there's a little more tread visible on the top. So probably like that one. And then this one, probably about there-ish. Just like that. All right. Let those dry for a minute. And while those dry, then we'll be back here in a minute and we'll do the other side. Okay, wheels are glued on for the most part. They'll need to dry for a while, but that's okay. Trailer's pretty much done. We just have weathering to add. So it looks pretty decent though. There's our trailer. Not bad. Pretty happy with how that's looking. And so I'm happy with how that's coming out, that's for sure. Might end up getting rid of the pin, just because I don't think that's going to slide up in there. And I want it to be sitting where we need to, so I might cut just the ball of the trailer pin there off, and then we'll put, and then it'll be able to sit where it needs to sit. So, not a big deal. The cab should fit on here just like that. I think that's gonna look nice. So let's go ahead and put glue on the frame, and then what we're gonna do is after that dries, I think this is gonna work pretty well for making our own drive shaft. It looks like it seems to be about the right scale and size. This is 20 gauge wire. We're gonna cut a couple pieces, just kind of glue it in there, but we need the cab to glue on and dry first. So we're going to take our super glue. Let me move this. And helper's back, I see. We're going to take our super glue. We're going to run a bead down. Oops, come on. There you go. Bead down like that. Bead down like that. It should be enough. Take our cab, put it on. Let's double check the positioning on both sides. It looks good. Let's make sure it fits okay in the middle. Definitely does. There we go. All right, let's let that dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back, work on the next steps, and which is the drive shaft. And then once the drive shaft is done, then we're going to move on to weathering, which will be the fourth and final video. Okay guys, glue is mostly set now. You can kind of see how this all came out. Not bad for HO scale. Let's work now on the drive shaft. Let's find something that we can support this on so we can flip it over. Let's do this. We'll grab a bottle of primer and maybe a shorter paint one as well. That'll work. It's always good to have different size paint bottles around, right? Okay, so we are going to use the 20 gauge wire to try and create the drive shaft for this, see what we can do. and see if we can make it look a little more real, just because it'll help, really, to be honest with you. Okay, so first thing, we're going to hold this up here. We want just about helpers, right? You want, let me refocus that for you. We want just about that length. Let's see. Just like that. And let me cut that here. Okay. This is a copper wire. It's like a silver copper, but it's still copper wire. Let's try that out for size and see what we have. Not bad. A hint too long. So, hold on a second. Okay. What we're going to do then is come in here, see how long that is, where it needs to be trimmed. I think I got an idea. Trim it off, just like this. If you notice, I usually keep a finger over it, just so it prevents it from shooting off into random directions. Okay, so we have a shorter piece now. Perfect. That's a good size. So back to the super glue. I'm actually going to drop that. We're going to use the other tweezers for this. So super glue right here. Oh, come on, squeeze out. I must be getting low on super glue on this bottle. And there. Okay, now we're going to take this. We're going to fit it right in there. Oops. And I dropped it. Just like that. Okay, close enough. Next step is we are going to measure drive shaft, and since we don't have an engine or transmission, which would normally sit, right about there, what we're going to do is we're just going to end up bending it up into the frame. So if we do that, probably about where my finger is would be my assumption. There we go. And I think what we'll do, let's see if I can figure out where this bend needs to be. Probably about there. So we're just going to do that. This will put a bend in it, which is okay with me. And then when you put this in, oh, look at that. Even with the bend, it's a hint too long. So need to trim that off because this is going to poke basically up into the front of the hood there, and which will be nice because it'll give it the support that we need so this doesn't just randomly fall out. But there you go. Okay, perfect. Bend that a little bit. So same thing again. Super glue is going to go back here. Okay, should be good there. And then we're also going to take and put super glue on the end of this. And then here we go. Just like that. We're going to let that dry, and that's going to wrap up this video. The next video, which will be the last one, of course, is the weathering, and I hope you guys will enjoy that too.